What's up, guys? We're back this week for another episode of The A Game.
Join us as we recap this week in App State sports, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and on Snapchat at The A Game Sports for weekly updates on Mountaineer sporting news and all the latest on-set action.
This week on Mountaineer Spotlight, Marnie Bond interviews the Director of Student-Athlete Development, Pierre Banks, and see what students around campus have to say in this week's Q&A game.
I'm Austin Lopp.
And I'm Gray Salter, and this is
The A Game.
The Mountaineers claimed a 35-13 victory against Sunbelt foe Texas State this Saturday at Kid Brewer Stadium. Senior linebacker Noel Cook made a key interception against the Bobcats, and his third quarter pick followed a pass deflection from senior defensive tackle E.J. Scott, who recorded 2 sacks as well. Darrington Evans rushed for 154 yards, and Zach Thomas threw 2 touchdown passes to lead the offense Saturday for App State.
Texas State used a 48-yard field goal to cut its second half deficit to 14-13 before Evans scored on runs of 13 and 10 yards in the final 6 minutes of the third quarter. He added a 13-yard touchdown run with 6 minutes and 26 seconds remaining as App State finished with a 468 to 208-yard advantage in total offense. The Bobcats regained possession trailing by just 1 midway through the third period, but Scott deflected the first down throw and Cook intercepted the ball at the Texas State 39 before returning it 10 yards. 4 plays later, Evans raced into the end zone to help push the Mountaineers ahead 21-13. Scott's first career sack and a tossing tackle from DeMarco Jackson forced another Texas State punt, and Evans capped a 6-play, 67-yard drive with a touchdown on the final play of the third quarter.
App State took the lead for good on its first drive, with Zach Thomas completing a 3rd and 7 throw to Malik Williams for 28 yards and then hitting Corey Sutton in stride for a 45-yard touchdown. Texas State converted a 48-yard field goal early in the second quarter, and the Mountaineers increased their advantage to 14-3 on Thomas's 19-yard touchdown pass to Keyshawn Watson with just 1 minute remaining before halftime. Evans' 47-yard run set up the pass to Watson, a grad transfer who scored for the first time in an App State uniform. The Bobcats did manage to answer before the break as Tyler Vitt threw a 53-yard touchdown pass to Javen Banks with just 3 seconds left in the half, and they briefly drew closer after halftime.
In addition to being number 24 in the college football playoff rankings, the league-leading Mountaineers are number 22 in both the Amway Coaches Poll and the AP Top 25. The win for App State and Georgia Southern's loss at Arkansas State means the Mountaineers have clinched the East Division title and a spot in the Sun Belt Championship game on December 7th. If they win at Troy on Friday night, they'll play host to the championship game in Boone against the winner of the West Division, who is currently led by Louisiana.
In Austin, Zach Thomas didn't have to do a lot in this game to win. The elements certainly played a factor. Darrington Evans, because of that, had a big day. Do you want to talk about a little bit of this Mountaineer offense that we just saw against Georgia State?
Absolutely. Offensively, it was bittersweet. We saw a lot of really good things. We had 468 total yards of offense, and Zach Thomas had a good day, 8 for 16 passing, 174 yards. He had 28 rushing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. So a good day, but Darrington Evans really showed out. 154 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and his longest rush of 47 yards. He obviously showed that he was willing to step in when we lose a weapon, which we did. Corey Sutton had 2 receptions for 45 yards and a touchdown, but was later left the game early. We've come to find out that it was a torn ACL. He will miss the rest of the season, so that was a hit. But it was good to see Darrington Evans step in for when we had a loss on the team and show that we can still win no matter what. This offense is being extremely good with keeping the ball. The only turnover came as a fumble when Sutton was hit. He was blindsided and injured his knee. So the offense is doing what we need to. They're averaging 440 yards a game right now. They're killing it.
Definitely rolling that App State offense in that Georgia State game. Through the elements, as I mentioned, that was impressive to see from them. Obviously, tough loss to see Corey Sutton go down. App State, though, this season has a little experience playing without him due to that suspension he had at the beginning of the year. So tough stuff to see him go down. Nothing this offense isn't prepared to handle, though, moving forward. Looking at the defense, though, in this game for Appalachian State, they held their opponents to only 208 yards of offense. That's the fourth time the Mountaineers have held a Sun Belt team this season to under 260 yards of offense. That's really tough when you talk about combined total yards for teams throughout an entire game, start to finish in 4 quarters. So App State certainly doing some really good stuff there. They held the Texas State QB Vitt to only 18 of 34, 4.5 yards per pass attempt, as opposed to Zach Thomas's 11 yards per pass attempt. So that's really good stuff. When you talk about the quarterback battle in that game, Zach Thomas only needed to complete 8 passes, but he still, in my opinion, won that battle for them going up against Texas State, and then, Texas State. And then Noel Cook had the interception, big play for him. That was a momentum shift for this team, and it was something that maybe showed the defense that they were getting a lot of stops, but the offense wasn't doing a lot with it. That time, they got the stop. The offense turned around, did something with it. To me, that was a big surge. It kept the defense's mind in the game. It was a big play for them. Noel Cook had an amazing game overall, too. But looking forward, Austin, this team has kind of battled their way back into potentially some bigger bowl conversations. Some things need to fall in place, but do you want to speak a little bit on what needs to happen for App State?
Absolutely. So in the near future, we have the Sun Belt Championship, and the way that we talked about a little bit earlier, but the way that it's working out with the win against Texas State this weekend, we have clinched the East Division, and it looks like Louisiana has clinched the West as well, so that is who we will face. The only question is, where is it going to be? So an App State win over Troy on Friday would instantly secure the bag for us, and we would have the Sun Belt Championship in Boone again. But a loss, and if we lost and Louisiana lost, we would still get it. But if we lose and Louisiana wins, we would lose the championship game. And we did move up to, we are in 24th in the college in the playoff, and then 22 today it came out that we were 22 in the AP poll. So we're looking really good, but there's a couple games that need to happen, and they need to work out well for us. Did you want to speak on those a little bit?
Yeah, sure. And you mentioned, too, 24th in that college football playoff poll. That changes during the week. So Appalachian State this week will have a chance to jump higher than 24th in that, obviously clocking at 22 again in the AP and the coaches. So something to keep an eye on looking at that college football playoff poll. But some teams to watch for Appalachian State. 18th ranked Memphis travels to take 19th ranked Cincinnati on in a big matchup for Group of 5 teams at least. Both those Group of 5 teams have 1 loss apiece. App State needs one of those teams, obviously, to beat each other in that game, which they will. The thing with them is Memphis and Cincinnati are set to play in their conference championship in just a few weeks. So App State needs one team to beat the other this coming weekend, and then whichever team loses that matchup needs to flop. They've got to win that conference championship. That gives both those Group of 5 teams 2 losses and App State a chance to jump up. At that point, Boise State would be the only Group of 5 team with 1 loss. They have a relatively easy matchup coming this weekend, so they're looking to probably close out their season, regular season at least, with just 1 loss. But those things pan out for Appalachian State. Still a shot at the Cotton Bowl. Obviously, App State needs to win out, including that Sun Belt Championship. But certainly some good stuff to come for App State.
Absolutely. I think it's possible, and in a perfect world, maybe we'll be at the Cotton Bowl in a couple of weeks. And of course, we want to give our prayers out to Corey Sutton. He's recovering from his ACL. He said he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So we just wanted to put our prayers out. The A Game's thinking of you, man.
For sure.
After the break, we head to Marnie Bond for this week's Mountaineer Spotlight. Stay tuned.
Hello, Pierre. Thank you for taking the time speaking to me today. What do you think is the most important role in the development of a student athlete?
The holistic approach. So if you look at it from one aspect or another, you may fall short in another category, where we're trying to build men and women here and productive citizens and individuals who can go out and can get jobs and a career path that can take care of themselves and their families and their future families. I tell everybody that comes here, doing well here is great, but it's only 4 to 5 years. And what happens when you have to pay your mortgage and you got to keep your lights on and your water running, and at some point you're going to have to take care of little U's as well. So getting them to the point to where we can have that holistic approach and they're prepared for life after Appalachian is always the ultimate goal.
I know you used to play football here. Do you think being a former athlete has helped you gain a better perspective of what's beneficial for these athletes?
Absolutely. It helps to know the position that they're in and to have been in a spot to where I can relate to that. And I've walked the same streets and had the same snow blowing in my eyes on the way to class. And it's a good perspective to have. And I've also had a negative perspective where we didn't have someone in this role when I was in school. And so when I left here, it was kind of feeling around in the dark and sitting around for 6 to 7 months not knowing what was going on. And so with that perspective in mind, my goal is to make sure that all of our student athletes never find themselves in that position.
Do you think, being a mentor to these young athletes, what is the one piece of advice that you can give them to really excel after college?
You got to approach every day as if you are preparing for the future, because that's what you're doing. Every decision you make now will impact the next 40 to 50 years of your life. What you study will determine, if you get your degree, and what you get that degree in will determine what job you get, which determines where you live, who you meet, who you marry, what children you raise and where. And so you got to take that approach every day into it, and not, today I can slack off a little bit, or I don't have to get up and go to that class, or I may not have to go to that resume workshop. It all works together for your good if you take advantage of it and just invest in yourself. I tell everyone, if you don't invest in yourself, no one else will. And so take the opportunities now to go to those career centers, to go to the internship and job fairs, to make the connections with your professors and your fellow classmates who may end up being your boss one day, or one of your employees, or something along those lines. And so take advantage of today and live it to the fullest.
How important is it to make these bonds with the players?
Oh, it's of the utmost importance. A lot of times people don't care about what you know until they know that you care about them. And once you build that relationship with them and let them know that you're there for their betterment, you're there for their best interest, they're more inclined to be able to come and get the information that we offer with everything from the life skills and career development that we do. But you got to build that relationship first so that they know that you're not just another face, you're not just another person there to collect a paycheck, but you actually care about them.
What do you think every morning when you wake up and come to work? What makes you excited to be here?
Man, I'm just glad that I got breath in my lungs. Every day I wake up, man, is a blessing. And I just try to use what I have and the gifts the good Lord gave me to try to advance, his kingdom and make a positive impact on folks. And again, I've been exactly where these student athletes are. I know how it is out here. I know what they don't know, which is life after Appalachian and how difficult that may be if you're not prepared for it. And so being able to help those who are in a position that I was once in, you can't put a price tag on that.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. Back to you guys in the studio.
Appalachian State Volleyball fell to UT Arlington 3-1 in the first round of the Sun Belt Tournament on Thursday evening. The 6th-seeded Mountaineers see their season come to a close with a 13-17 mark, while the 7th-seeded Mavericks improved to 17-12 and advanced to play 3rd-seed South Alabama tomorrow. In the opening set, UT Arlington jumped out to a 17-11 lead, only to see the Mountaineers storm back with 7 straight points to take an 18-17 lead. The Black and Gold tied the set at 21 all, but the Mavericks won the next 2 points to take a 23-21 edge. App State pulled within a point at 24-23, but a ball handling error gave the Mavericks the opening set 25-23. In set 2, App State used an early 5-0 run to take a 9-5 advantage. The Mavericks tied the score at 13 all, but the Black and Gold responded with 3 straight points to take a 16-13 lead. The Mountaineers held a 21-19 lead before the Mavericks scored 2 straight points to tie the score at 21 all. App State scored 4 of the last 5 points to win the set 25-22 and not the match at a set apiece. In the 4th set, UT Arlington jumped out to a 10-2 lead. App State chipped away at its deficit and cut it to 14-9. The Mavericks responded with 3 of the next 4 points, but App State came right back with 4 consecutive points themselves to cut the UTA lead to 17-14. From there, the Mavericks closed out the set and match on an 8-3 spurt to win the 4-set contest. Emma Longley finished the match with a match-high 17 kills on a .256 hitting percentage to go along with 7 digs. She concludes her career with 1,340 kills, which ranks 7th in program history. Kara Spicer added 13 digs on a .36 hitting percentage, and Victoria Wilform added 12 kills. Emma Riley tallied a team-high 14 digs, while Sydney Farthing added 11. Riley concludes the season with 550 digs, which ranks as the 6th most in a single season in App State history. Overall, the Mountaineers registered 53 kills and hit a .231, while the Mavericks hit .319 and had 61 kills.
O'Shawn Williams had a season-high 18 points, and Adrian Delph added 15 as Appalachian State men's basketball defeated Charlotte 64-55 on Thursday evening. Williams bettered his previous season best of 13 points set against Ferrum and Tennessee Tech. He added 6 rebounds, a pair of assists, and 3 steals. Delph added 8 rebounds with a career-high tying 3 steals. Isaac Johnson had 9 points and 6 rebounds. Off the bench, Michael Bibby had 7 points, and Hunter Seacat and Kendall Lewis had 6 points apiece. App State has now held its last 6 opponents to 62 points or less. In addition, the Mountaineers limited the 49ers to 36.7% shooting and now have held their last 3 opponents under 40% shooting from the field. The Black and Gold opened a 6-5 lead early. From there, the Mountaineers went off to a 22-4 run to build a 28-9 advantage with 3 minutes and 26 seconds left in the opening half. App State took a 30-17 lead into the break. In the second half, Charlotte scored the first 4 points to turn the Mountaineers' lead to 30-21. Leading 39-30, the Black and Gold used an 8-0 spurt, with Williams joining back-to-back triples to push its lead to 47-30, with 12:06 remaining. Charlotte chipped away at the App State lead, cutting it to 61-55 with just 37 seconds left. The Mountaineers did not let the 49ers score the rest of the game and got a free throw from Williams, Delph, and Johnson to seal the victory. In addition to holding Charlotte 36.7% shooting, the Mountaineers also limited the 49ers to 19% shooting from deep. App State held a 37-32 edge in rebounding, including an 8-2 advantage on the offensive glass. The Mountaineers outscored the 49ers 17-5 on the fast break. Appalachian State will return to action on Tuesday evening with a 7 p.m. contest at East Tennessee State University.
Appalachian State women's basketball fell to Garner-Webb 67-56 in its home opener at the Holmes Convocation Center. App State falls to 0-4 on the season, while Garner-Webb improves to 2-1. Priest Stanley and Lainey Gosnell took on the scoring load for the Black and Gold as the junior duo scored season highs of 24 and 13 points respectively, combining for 37 of the 56 total points for App State. Armani Hampton stepped up to the glass, coming down with a season-best 11 boards with 6 points added. She reached double-figure boards for the first time since the 2017 and 18 season. After trailing by as much as 15 late in the first half, 31-16, the Mountaineers stormed back in the third quarter with a 16-0 run over a 7-minute and 36-second span to take a 32-31 advantage with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter. Gosnell took over by scoring 8 straight points during the surge, highlighted by back-to-back trifectas. App and Garner-Webb went back and forth the rest of the third period thanks to a free throw shooting contest, with the final 9 combined points coming at the line. Appalachian State and the visitors traded baskets in the early goings of the final quarter. Stanley's field goal with 5 minutes and 57 seconds left in the game gave the Black and Gold a 53-51 edge, capping off a 6 of 7 start from the field for the Mountaineers. However, the App offense went cold, hitting just 1 bucket for the rest of the game. The offense for Garner-Webb shot 10 for 13 from the floor for the entire period, while holding Appalachian to just 3 points in the final 5 minutes and 57 seconds to pull out the victory. Appalachian out-rebounded Garner-Webb 38-23, but the bench production played a pivotal role as the Runnin' Bulldogs reserves outscored App State's 18-2. Garner-Webb also hit 9 three-pointers, the most allowed by App State in a game this year. Carly Plenovich led the Garner-Webb team with 18 points. App State returns to action on Monday at 6:30 p.m. against ETSU in the Holmes Convocation Center.
The men's wrestling team headed to NC State this Sunday as Jonathan Milner and Kerry Miller won individual titles at the Wolfpack Open. Miller and teammate Michael Burchell both advanced to the heavyweight final, with Miller prevailing via a medical forfeit. Milner overcame a big early deficit before recording a 16-8 decision against unattached Virginia wrestler Bryce Adonian in the 149-pound final. Milner fell behind 6-0 in the first 33 seconds and trailed 8-4 early in the second period. He scored the last 12 points using an escape, a takedown, and a pair of 2-point near falls to lead 11-8 at the end of the second period. He also won a title in comeback fashion last weekend, taking first at the Mountaineer Invitational in Boone. The Wolfpack runner-up at 174 pounds, Thomas Flitz, reached the final with an 8-6 victory by decision against 13th-ranked 13th ranked Daniel Bullard of NC State. Unattached Virginia wrestler Robert Patrick won 9-6 in the final. In all, App State wrestlers had 7 semifinal matches against wrestlers from the 9th ranked NC State, and Matt Zoviskov, a 157-pounder, had a strong showing in a 3-2 loss to number 1 Hayden Hidlay. They were tied 1-1 entering the third period, and the top-ranked Hidlay had a tie-breaking takedown with 47 seconds left. Zoviskowski's escape with 38 seconds left gave him a chance to go for the late takedown, but Hidlay did not allow that one. Miller's 5-0 day began with 2 pins, a 4-1 decision, and a 14-0 major decision. Burchell advanced to the final with 2 pins and a 10-6 decision against unattached NC State wrestler Owen Trefan. Zoviskowski, Cody Russell, Bradley Irwin, and Paul Carson all won their third-place matches. Irwin's victory included a pin, a technical fall, a major decision, and a 7-1 decision. Carson Smith, Christian Beach, and Barrett Blakely were 4th in their weight class. The Mountaineers will head to Chapel Hill next Sunday for a match against UNC.
After the break, we head to campus for this week's Q&A game. Stay tuned.
And now it's time for our Play of the Week. This week's